So we've seen the information regarding replay subject, but wait, there's another solution. So at first glance, replay subject seems like the perfect solution. However, for our totals, we really don't need to replay the previous totals. We're really only interested in the latest total, the last computed total. I'm only interested in the last event or the last message. So in the scenario of the meeting, sorry I'm late to the meeting, what is the latest cart total? I really don't care about all the intermediate discussions. What's the latest cart total? A similar thing when you make it up to the checkout counter at the store. You want to find out what's the latest price or what's the total price that you need to pay. You really don't care about the intermediate prices, only the latest price. We can make use of a behavior subject. So a behavior subject is a subclass of subject. It has a notion of a current value, and it stores the latest message or event and sends it to new subscribers. So similar, sorry I'm late to the meeting, but what's the latest cart total? And then here's some good information from the docs. So behavior subjects are useful for representing values over time. For instance, an event stream of birthdays is a subject, but the stream of a person's age would be a behavior subject. So using that analogy, a stream of a person's age. So you meet a young person. Hey, how old are you? 14, 17, 18. Okay, great. That's the only value you need. You only need to know their latest age or their current age. You really don't care about their age of 5, 3, or 2. Only their latest age. So that's the idea of using a behavior subject, one use case. And so we'll use the use case here for our shopping cart. We really don't care about the intermediate totals of our shopping cart. We simply need to know the latest value of our shopping cart. So the total quantity and the total price. And if you want to see the docs here for behavior subject, you can use the link on the slide. It'll redirect you to the official documentation. Alrighty, so looking at an example here with this behavior subject. So we have this cart service, total price, and note here it's a behavior subject. We have our cart status component. They'll do a subscribe. We'll have these events come across, A and B. And then we'll have our checkout component that'll actually do a subscribe. And then they'll simply get the latest cart total, or they'll receive the latest message or event that happened. They won't get all previous ones, simply the latest value. And of course, they'll get all new events coming in the future. But that's the key here. The behavior subject basically just keeps a buffer of the most recent value that was sent. So here's an example of using a behavior subject. So instead of a normal subject or a replay subject, you simply make use of behavior subject. And then the constructor here, you specify the initial value. So the total price will be 0. The total quantity will be 0. And we'll actually use this behavior subject in our cart service. So once we get to the coding videos, then you'll see we'll simply go through, we'll replace subject with behavior subject. And we'll see how this works in our application once it's running. And if you'd like to get more details on behavior subject, just simply check out the online docs at the link here. It'll redirect you to the official page. All right, let's just kind of recap the terms that we've just covered here. So subject does not keep a buffer of the previous events. The subscriber will only receive new events after they subscribe. So we've used subject in our previous examples as far as our coding. So if you subscribe late, you simply get the new events after subscribing. So for replay subject, it has a buffer of all previous events. Once subscribed, the subscriber receives a replay of all previous events. So here at the bottom, they get A and B because of replay, and then they also get the new messages in the future. And so for this scenario, like, hey, we're recording the meeting and this is everything that you missed. And then for behavior subject, it has a buffer of the last event. So once subscribed, subscribers receive the latest event prior to subscribing. So whatever the latest item is, that's the one that they'll get. So similar to the example I used for age, you simply get the latest age of the person. Or for like a shopping cart, you'll get the latest total quantity or the latest total price. And now here are all the three subjects placed on one slide together, so you can kind of just review them and get a good feel for what they're about. Alrighty, so let's look at our development process for this. In step 1, we'll make updates for checkout component. We'll inject a cart service into checkout component. And in the ng on init method, we'll call a new method, review cart details. And then we'll add the code here for that new method, review cart details. And then finally, we'll make some updates in our cart service where we'll change subject to behavior subject. In step 1.1, we'll inject the cart service into the checkout form. So we use the same approach that we've used before for injecting items here. So we simply inject the cart service. And in step 1.2, in the ng on init method, we'll call review cart details. So this is a new method that we're going to create. So we just put the call for it right here. And then in step 1.3, we actually write the code for the new method, review cart details. So here's this new method. And all we're doing here is really just subscribing. So we subscribe to the total quantity. And then we also subscribe to the total price. So we have 2 subscriptions set up to listen to events off of those 2 different subjects. And then in step 2.1, we're going to change the subject to a behavior subject. So remember, behavior subject is a subclass of subject. And then we'll give it the initial value, total price of 0 and total quantity of 0. Okay, so this looks pretty good. Let's go ahead and move into the next video and let's start writing some code.